Welcome everybody, Red Arrow 23 here. Today we're going to be covering the reverse Mortar wrap on Callisto, and this attack is completed by Neil. This is in Angry Unicorns. We'll check them out after this. So let's jump straight into the hit. So as usual, you can go for these right fuel cells. Neil didn't on this attack, and he's clearing regular mines. These are max mines, so he definitely needs to get rid of those, and he's not worrying about these boom mines here. So you can get rid of these extra cells on the right. I have been talking to Neil in a chat, and he said the main reason he didn't go for these cells is because it wasn't going to buy him an extra round of an extra salvo, an extra round of shots for the Zookas. So he didn't even bother. He just came straight over and did the walk. Note that sometimes there are some rocket launchers in this gap here, and sometimes the beach is hot, but most of the time the range only comes about halfway down the beach, and the Zookas actually walk under that range, so make sure you scout that out. You can usually duck under there, so check out, look in this video, see where the Zookas walk, and it will be the same for you, and just check that they're just going to go underneath that range usually. And then we've got these rocket launchers over on the left, so the left side of the beach is hot, and let's head over there. So usual mortar wrap would be just as you're passing this first rocket launcher, or once you're getting in line with the second rocket launcher, you'll flare onto this machine gun or whatever defense is there, and you'll wrap around this mortar, staying safe in the dead zone. If you want to check out that video, it's in this playlist. Just search hashtag BB Playbook and Callisto standard mortar wrap. So let's go in. You don't have to clear these mines, so don't worry about them. They are level 20, so we can take a hit, but we don't need to. Just don't need to clear them at all. So standard flare landing onto the left hand side, and we're going to have one smoke low on the beach, and then one smoke a bit higher. And then once they get to that corner, we're going to flare up. There are two options for the flare up. You can go right up into the crack, which is what Neil has done, which is perfect. You can also flare quite close to the wall just in front of this rocket launcher here. Alright, so let's head on up. You want to smoke a little bit closer at the beginning just while the Zookas find their path, and then you can start lengthening them out. They're going to split into two perfect lines. So just keep that into consideration. You don't want to lose the delay on any of these rocket launchers. It's around about here where the flare will run out, so you just want to re-flare up into that crack. Yeah, you definitely want to flare right up into that crack. And then with these two smokes, I like to throw the furthest one first, so right here, and then the second one's a little bit further down. It's going to be a double smoke. You can probably get away with one smoke, but it's just safer to throw you're going to have to use two smokes anyway, so you may as well throw them at the same time. I like to throw the one that's furthest away first, because in that split second that I move and click the next one, they should both land at the same time, because the one that's further away will take a little bit longer to land. I believe Neil just uses the bottom one first, but that's fine. And then what he's going to do, he's going to make sure these trailing Zookas, the Zookas at the back, are all going to be up past this first mortar and into the second mortar. And then he's going to flare onto the third defense down, the second one up from the bottom, which is that first rocket launcher there, which he's put a flare on. And then all the Zookas are going to gather really nicely in that dead zone. So then we're going to check out our shocks. The main advantage of the reverse mortar wrap over the standard mortar wrap is obviously the Zookas positioning. So they're going to be a little bit higher. So if there are any defenses down here which are in range of the standard mortar here, but not in the upper one, then there's one less shock that you'll have to do. If only this is a rocket launcher and the other ones are in fact shock launchers or something else with smaller range, then you can save a shock by moving on up there. The reason Neil is doing it this way is so that usually he would have to shock these three machine guns and the mortar that he's wrapping at the moment in one shock, and then the bottom rocket launcher, and or if this was a second one up was a mortar or something, you'd have to shock that as well. And then these rocket launchers, this rocket launcher. And he's worried that this machine gun over here is going to clip a bunch of his girls. So he's wrapped the top mortar so that he can do a 4 in a line shock. So he's going to shock right on that line. And then he's going to shock the mortar because that's obviously the next fastest firing. And then we would hope that you go right up to the furthest defense because it's going to take longer for the shock to fire. And then these two rocket launchers here. Sometimes it is easiest to sort of have your screen set up like this. With the rocket launchers just in the top right of your screen, and then you can go bang, 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 and then bang. So that's quite often what will happen. But just remember that these rocket launchers are very far away and they're going to take longer to shock. You don't want them raining down on you. So that's what we're going to do. We're in the dead zone, so we don't need to worry about this mortar in particular. So here come, remember to flare the core. Obviously, you don't want to be taking out that rocket launcher. It's going to ruin the reverse mortar wrap for someone else. They're not going to be able to have a defense to flare onto, which is really going to ruin this attack because there's no free spot to take the core. So you'll probably have to do a standard mortar wrap and just shock more. And yeah, just make sure you flare on the core. Then we're going to be throwing out our shocks. Machine guns obviously first because they're going to fire straight away. And then the mortar, the other rocket launchers, and the top rocket launchers. There we go. And then we're going to be hammering the core, and we want to be throwing we are going to be taking hits from these single shots, but that's okay. Neil has gone with the medkit, which I don't usually advise in the higher level operations, mainly because of this. Nothing is going down in health, so nothing can be healed. It's all getting shredded. That being said, there's probably nothing else he could have done with his GBE that would have helped. But look at that. Shredded the core. There was about 2.2 million on this. So he probably did, I'd say what's half is 1.1. So he probably did about 1.4 million. Maybe a bit more. So it's a great hit. That's the reverse mortar wrap on Callisto. Hope that helps you out with your hits in your task force. Shout out to Angry Unicorns for letting me use their replays. Let's check out Angry Unicorns. They're doing really well. A 10-man task force on the leaderboard. That's my little alt in there, so ignore him. And here they are in position 13 at the moment. Highest position is 7. So that's awesome. Shout out to Angry Unicorns. Give us a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you didn't, and subscribe for more Boom Beach.